Every soul that has ever lived has met him. From the first breath to the final heartbeat, his presence waits in silence, an unseen guardian at the threshold of eternity. He doesn't speak with a booming voice. He doesn't shout his pronouncements. He doesn't need to. He knows the precise moment your name is called from the celestial register, and when it is, he answers with unwavering obedience. Azrael, often referred to as the angel of death, is neither a mythical figure born of fearful imaginings, nor a monstrous entity lurking in the shadows, but a dedicated servant of the Most High, tasked with a sacred and solemn duty. He doesn't kill, he collects. He gathers souls with a gentle yet unwavering hand, and his touch is the last sensation every mortal being on earth will experience. This isn't a story designed to instill fear and dread. It's a narrative about divine purpose, unwavering obedience, and a profound, almost incomprehensible mercy that transcends human understanding. Behind every death, there lies a divinely ordained appointment, a moment etched in the fabric of time itself. And behind that appointment stands Azrael, a figure shrouded in mystery and grace. Before we embark on this deeply introspective and spiritually enriching journey, welcome to Bible Mysteries, a sanctuary where we delve into the hidden corners of Scripture, unearthing the stories that often remain untold on a typical Sunday morning. If you find yourself drawn to such profound and thought-provoking topics, take a moment to show your support by liking this presentation, subscribing to our channel, and tapping the bell icon to receive notifications about future explorations into the unknown. Azrael, a name whispered reverently in the shadows of ancient texts and spiritual traditions, is conspicuously absent from the pages of most Bibles and rarely spoken aloud at funeral services. And yet, his presence permeates the very spaces where life meets its inevitable conclusion. He is known across diverse faiths, feared by many who misunderstand his true nature, and comprehended fully by almost none. Some call him the Angel of Death, a title that evokes images of darkness and despair. Others refer to him as Malak al-Maut, an Arabic term meaning Angel of Death, a name that acknowledges his role without fully capturing the essence of his being. But mere titles can never do justice to the immense weight of responsibility he carries with such unwavering grace. He watches with infinite patience. He listens to the whispers of the dying and the prayers of the bereaved. And when the appointed moment arrives, he acts not out of malice or anger, but in complete and utter obedience to the divine will. Many mistakenly perceive death as a punishment, a cruel and arbitrary end to existence. However, in the grand tapestry of creation, death was never intended to be synonymous with chaos. It was never meant to be a violent or terrifying ordeal. Death from the very beginning was an integral part of the natural rhythm of life, an essential component of God's magnificent creation. And Azrael was divinely chosen to conduct that final poignant note in the symphony of existence, not because he possessed a cold or merciless heart, but because he possessed the strength and compassion to bear the weight of such a task. Someone had to fulfill this role, and Azrael, in his unwavering devotion, answered the call. God spoke, and the angels were formed beings of radiant and unimaginable light, each possessing a unique name and a divinely assigned purpose. Michael was appointed to lead the celestial armies, Gabriel to deliver divine messages, and Raphael to mend the brokenhearted and heal the sick. But amidst this celestial assembly, there remained one role untouched, one task that no angel eagerly stepped forward to accept the task of separating soul from flesh, the delicate and momentous moment of departure from the mortal realm, the sacred instant between the finite realm of time and the infinite expanse of eternity. It wasn't an evil task born of darkness and malice. It wasn't a wrathful act fueled by divine retribution, but it was undeniably heavy, laden with sorrow and the weight of human suffering. And in the hallowed presence of God, a profound question echoed through the heavens: who among you will take on the mantle of death? Some angels turned away, unable to bear the thought of witnessing such pain. Others bowed their heads in silent reverence, not out of rebellion or defiance, but out of sheer awe and the recognition of the gravity of the task. Who among them possessed the strength to hold the sorrow of the entire world without succumbing to despair and breaking under the immense pressure? It was then that Azrael, with unwavering resolve, stepped forward. There was no hesitation in his voice, no trace of doubt in his eyes, no grand oration filled with self-importance. Only a simple yet profound willingness to serve. He didn't inquire about the number of souls he would be responsible for guiding. He didn't ask how long this daunting task would endure. He simply uttered a single powerful word: yes. And from that pivotal moment forward, he became the one chosen to usher souls into the next realm. It's easy to conjure up an image of Azrael as a grim and foreboding figure cloaked in darkness and devoid of emotion, his face resembling a skeletal mask, his hands empty and cold. But these are merely human projections born of fear and limited understanding. The truth of Azrael's nature is far more beautiful, far more tragic, and far more holy than our mortal minds can readily comprehend. They say that when a soul is taken from a righteous person, one who has lived a life of faith and devotion, Azrael performs this sacred act as gently as lifting a single strand of hair from the surface of still water. No pain, no terror, no struggle, just a peaceful and effortless release. And when he takes the soul of someone who has lived a life steeped in cruelty, rebellion, or darkness, it's akin to tearing thorns through densely soaked wool, a process marked by resistance and anguish. Same hand, same divine duty, but vastly different experiences for the departing souls. He doesn't judge the souls he guides. He doesn't accuse them of wrongdoing. He simply fulfills the divine decree, carrying out what was written in the celestial records. And yet, every death leaves an indelible mark upon him. In some spiritual traditions, it is said that Azrael possesses thousands upon thousands of eyes, each one representing a soul under his care. And every time one of those souls passes from the mortal realm, that corresponding eye weeps, shedding tears of sorrow and empathy. He remembers us, each and every one, even when we forget him, even when we try to ignore the inevitable reality of death. In numerous ancient writings, Azrael is often depicted holding a vast scroll or a weighty book, not filled with earthly laws or historical accounts, but with the names of every living being who has ever walked the face of the earth. Every soul is inscribed within those sacred pages, and when your name begins to fade from that celestial book, he knows that your time is near. He doesn't rush to your side in a frantic frenzy. He doesn't run from his appointed duty. He simply arrives unseen by mortal eyes, silent and unobtrusive, yet undeniably present. And when your soul begins to tremble as it instinctively recognizes the impending separation from the physical body, he reaches out with the weightless authority of one who has been performing this sacred task since the dawn of creation and gently separates the soul from the flesh. And in that transcendent moment, time ceases to exist, for Azrael is not bound by its constraints. There is no need for him to hurry. There is only the soul, the act of departure, and the inevitable return to the Creator who breathed life into it. In the earliest moments of creation, before the world had even tasted the bitterness of pain or experienced the intoxicating sweetness of love, before Adam took his first breath and opened his eyes to the wonders of the world, the heavens were filled only with pure radiant light and unwavering obedience. The angels existed in a state of perfect submission to the divine will, fashioned not to rule over creation, but to serve it with unwavering devotion. There was no sin, yet no sorrow to darken their hearts, no death to cast a shadow over their eternal existence. Only the divine will unfolded across the boundless expanse of eternity, shaping the universe with purpose and grace. And then came a decree from the heavens that silenced the celestial choirs and sent ripples of astonishment through the angelic ranks. God announced that death would enter his creation, not as a punitive curse inflicted upon humanity, but as a means of return away for the soul to journey back to the one who had lovingly given it life. The angels were profoundly shaken by this revelation. They had never known loss, never experienced the sting of grief. They had never witnessed life fade away like a dying ember. The very concept of souls leaving their physical bodies of families being torn apart by sorrow of grief echoing across generations. It was all a profound mystery to them, something beyond their comprehension. And so God posed a single all-important question to the celestial assembly: who among you will bring my creation back to me? It wasn't a command delivered with wrath or indignation. It was a calling and invitation to participate in a sacred and necessary aspect of the divine plan. But the silence that followed was heavier and more profound than any command could have been, not because the angels disobeyed or refused to answer, but because they understood the immense weight of what was being asked of them. Death wasn't simply about fire and fury about striking down the wicked and bringing about divine justice. It was about bearing an unbearable burden of sorrow and grief, a burden that would be endless and ever-present. No angel moved from their place in the celestial hierarchy. Not Michael, the valiant warrior who had battled the forces of darkness. Not Gabriel, the eloquent messenger who had delivered God's word to humanity. Not Raphael, the compassionate healer who had mended countless broken hearts. It was Azrael, unassuming and resolute, who stepped forward quietly and willingly. He didn't raise his voice in a grand display of courage. He didn't demand the honor of being chosen for this vital task. He simply said, "Yes, I will do it." In that single defining moment, the very fabric of the heavens seemed to shift and change. This angel, often overlooked and never prominently featured in the loud and boastful halls of prophecy, became the keeper of every soul's final moment on earth. He didn't become death itself, a harbinger of destruction and despair. He became the servant who would meet death with unwavering courage, hold it with reverence and compassion, and carry it with boundless mercy. The task was far from simple, for with death came the inevitable cascade of blood fear and weeping. Humanity would resist him, misunderstand his purpose, and demonize his image. They would create fearful depictions of him cloaked in black, his face a skeletal skull, his hands empty and cold. They would forget that he had been sent by a loving God, that his purpose was rooted in divine grace. But Azrael would never falter in his duty. He would visit every child who passed away too soon, every elder who slipped away peacefully in their sleep, every soul caught in the tumultuous battle between faith and fear. He would be there as he had promised. In the beginning, a steadfast and unwavering presence. When the first human was created, the very ground beneath his feet had to be meticulously shaped and formed. In some spiritual traditions, it is said that God initially asked the angels to descend to the earth and collect clay to mold Adam's body. But the earth, sensing the potential for both good and evil that lay within mankind, refused to yield its soil. It cried out in anguish, fearing what would come from the hands of humanity, and each angel returned to the heavens, unable to fulfill the task assigned to them. Finally, Azrael was sent to the earth. He went down to the earth with a heavy heart, and when the earth pleaded with him to leave its soil untouched, Azrael wept not out of weakness or despair, but because he felt the sorrow of the earth and understood the burden of what was to come. He understood the potential for both profound joy and devastating sorrow that lay within humanity. But he obeyed the divine command. He gathered the clay with trembling hands, recognizing the sacredness of the task before him. And because he faithfully fulfilled the command God appointed him as the guardian over the one who would be born from that clay, the guardian over humanity's return to the earth from which they came. From the dust he came, and to the dust he would inevitably return, but he would never return alone. Azrael would be there to guide him on his final journey. This wasn't the task of a grim and heartless figure lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting souls. This was the sacred role of one who could witness the collapse of kingdoms, the tragic endings of countless stories, the tears of grieving parents and heartbroken children, and never allow it to turn him bitter or cynical. Azrael was divinely created to carry unbearable weight and not crumble under the pressure. He would be invisible to human eyes, yet always present a silent witness to the unfolding drama of human existence. Sometimes he would arrive at the precise sound of a final heartbeat, the moment when life flickered and faded away. Other times he would wait patiently for days, allowing the soul to gradually prepare itself for the inevitable transition. He would be misunderstood, despised by those who feared death, and yet he would never abandon a single soul entrusted to his care. He doesn't argue with God's divine plan. He doesn't question the timing of death. He doesn't linger after his task is complete. He only asks one thing, that when he reaches for the soul, it is ready to let go of its earthly attachments and embrace the journey ahead. And even when the soul clings desperately to life and resists his gentle guidance, he remains compassionate and gentle, remembering the sacred promise he made in the beginning, remembering the day he was chosen for this profound and essential task. There's a profound silence that descends just before the soul lets go, a stillness so deep and profound that time itself seems to hold its breath in anticipation. No beeping monitors, no hurried whispers, no last words exchanged between loved ones. Just a pause, a sacred moment where the physical body begins to surrender its hold on life, and the soul begins its ascent towards the heavens. That's when Azrael steps in his presence, palpable yet unseen. He doesn't need to announce himself or make a grand entrance. The soul already recognizes him on some deep, ancient level, the part of us that remembers the eternal realm before birth. It recognizes him not as a stranger or a fearsome monster, but as someone who has always been waiting patiently on the other side of the veil. He doesn't come to rip the soul out of the body with brutal force. He comes to release it, to gently untether it from its earthly moorings. And how that momentous release unfolds depends entirely on how the soul lived its life. For the righteous, the peaceful, the patient, and the faithful, Azrael comes gently like a soft breeze drifting through an open window on a warm summer night, like a comforting hand submerged in cool water. They say that the righteous can see him, and when they do, they feel no fear, only a sense of profound peace and homecoming. To them, he is beautiful, radiant with divine light. It is written in many ancient traditions that the soul of the faithful is drawn out from the body like a single strand of silk being pulled effortlessly from a drop of oil, smooth, weightless, and without resistance. Azrael lifts it gently, cradles it in his loving embrace, and comforts it with his unwavering presence. The soul is calm, not because it understands everything about the afterlife, but because it can feel that it is safe, secure in the knowledge that it is no longer bound to the limitations and sorrows of the world. But for the soul that has resisted truth, the soul that has clung tightly to greed, cruelty, and ego, the experience is vastly different. Azrael still comes for his duty, remains unchanged. But the soul fights, resisting the inevitable separation from the physical realm. It doesn't want to leave behind the earthly possessions it has accumulated, the power it has wielded, or the illusions it has so carefully constructed. It's tied to what it has built in this world, its pride, its money, its power. The body may be collapsing and failing, but the soul is still desperately trying to hold on, clinging to the fading vestiges of its former life. And so, it must be pulled away like a thorn branch being torn from densely soaked wool, a process marked by tearing, straining, and screaming. The pain doesn't come from Azrael himself. It comes from the soul's own resistance, from its refusal to let go of its earthly attachments, from the agonizing realization that everything it tried to control in life is now slipping irrevocably out of its grasp. Azrael doesn't judge the struggling soul. He doesn't curse it or condemn it. He only fulfills what has been written in the divine records, carrying out his assigned task with unwavering obedience. But even then, even when the soul fights him with all its might, he shows no hatred, no vengeance, just a profound sense of sorrow and compassion for the suffering it is experiencing. Some say that at the precise moment of death, you don't just see Azrael standing before you. You see your whole life flash before your eyes, not as a judgment to be feared, but as a return, a comprehensive review of every word you spoke, every choice you made, every person you touched, every secret you kept hidden. And when that life review ends, when the echoes of every choice, every kindness, every cruelty fade into the eternal silence, Azrael does not turn away. He does not hurry. He simply waits, holding the soul with the quiet patience of one who has witnessed the full spectrum of human existence, from breathtaking beauty to unspeakable tragedy. For some, that moment is a release. A weight lifts, and they feel lighter than they have ever felt before. They see loved ones waiting in radiant light, hear distant music that stirs forgotten memories, and the soul moves willingly into eternity. For others, the moment is a confrontation, an agonizing reckoning with the truth they spent a lifetime avoiding. Fear grips them as they cling desperately to a world that can no longer hold them. Yet still, Azrael does not waver. His voice is soft, steady, almost mournful. It is time, and even the most resistant soul must accept the inevitable. Because no power, no wealth, no title, and no earthly fortress can delay the appointment written before time began. When the final heartbeat fades, when the breath slips away into silence, Azrael is there, hand outstretched, never to push, only to guide. And in that sacred moment, every soul finally understands death is not the end. It is the return home. So as we've explored together, the story of Azrael isn't one of fear or dread, but a testament to divine purpose and unwavering compassion. It's a reminder that even in the face of death, there's a profound mercy at play, a guiding hand leading us home. The angel of death, as he's often called, is not a monster, but a dedicated servant fulfilling a sacred duty, a shepherd guiding each soul back to the Creator. Death isn't an ending, but a transition, a return to the source of all life. What are your thoughts on Azrael's role? Does this perspective shift your understanding of death and the afterlife? We'd love to hear your insights, questions, or even your own experiences in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and learn from each other. And if you found this journey into the mysteries of the Bible thought-provoking, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that notification bell. We have many more untold stories and hidden corners of Scripture to explore, and we wouldn't want you to miss out. Thanks for watching.